Okay, I think we're live. I believe we're live. So sorry about that. Greetings, everyone. Coin here, or Swirling Vortex, or, well, I guess it's Swirling Vortex first, huh? Or Coin Stamp when wow. Or Steven. I guess you could call me any of those three things. Or just, don't call me Collect, because I apparently can't get my own name straight. And welcome back to another episode of Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. Last time, we did a lot, and I know I think it's been maybe 2 weeks, so sorry about that. I have, this month, well, I should say last month was just brutal, and this month, at least the beginning portion of it, wasn't much better. Last time on Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries, we were working pretty heavily on getting to the bottom of everything. The end of the game is really mostly about the cult of Chthon and this dying god making his final moves, his sort of people are trying to summon one of his agents, the Logorian. We also found the rune stone of Magdragen, and I believe we also found this rift. We found a chthonic rift, and we determined there was a legacy dungeon, or I say legacy, challenge dungeon in here. Look, there it is up here. Right up here, right beyond this point. That's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to go do now. Is the challenge dungeon. I have brought along all of our supplies as per usual. We've been getting started, but let's continue to get started. How is everyone doing today? Hope everyone is doing all right. Also, I just realized that my webcam is in the wrong place, and my webcam is also too big. Let's fix that. And change the filter. Wrong filter. There we go. This should be a little bit better. That way I'm not interrupting the action on screen. But I hope everyone's doing okay. Now that my school term has more or less blown over, I still got the aftermath of it to deal with, but I'm doing better now. I highly recommend people, go on Twitter and, read some, or if you're part of the Discord, read what I've been putting there. I've been trying to be a lot more forward and direct on the Discord, because that's the private area. That's where people who want to know me will know me. Hello, Lucius. Well, just the sterile silence. Oh, okay. I gotcha. I gotcha, good sir. Just don't kill me. That's all I'm asking. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. We're pretty much wrapping up, the final quests. That's pretty much all there is to say. Making sure I haven't picked up any greens. I did get 2 pieces of gear. I did swap out the remaining 2 blues that we had for 2 purples. We grabbed Eurydice's Wedding Band, which pumps up lightning, elemental, and electrocute damage, and converts some amount of Aether damage to lightning damage. We also are leaning a little bit harder into the critical attack, critical attack build, where as long as stuff is critting, we're getting extra effects. We also upgraded Lesser Killen's Favor to Greater Killen's Favor. That's just a straight stat upgrade. Nothing special about that. I did that right before the start of stream. Took me 30 minutes to figure out the correct pieces and make a move. I even upgraded the augments or put on the augments and everything. Just beautiful. I'm trying to make sure if there was anything else I should say right at outset, but I don't think so. So what are my accomplishments? What is the thing I'm trying to accomplish today? Well, first start, what I want to do is, oh hello, I forgot we need a skeleton key and we can't put a rift in here. We have to head back out. I totally forgot. Do a challenge dungeon, he says, and forgets all about the key, all about it, absolutely every single part of it. Forget a key. Should be able to just follow the patch of explored land and make our way back to the rift normally. One of the nice things about the map is that if you know how to read it, most places really aren't too bad to navigate, and in all honesty, it's just getting there that could be a problem. How has everybody been enjoying the series? I don't like to talk about algorithm stuff too much, but I like the views that I'm seeing. I do like the fact that people have left comments. You know, in episode 11, of course. That was the last time that there were comments. Try to make sure I don't, like, spill too many beans. But, I'm really grateful the series has had some views. I really wasn't expecting more than, you know, 10 or 20. No. Even that is too hot of an expectation. I really wasn't expecting more than, like, 5 views, if I'm being honest. So having some episodes, you know, have, you know, 20, 30 views, I'm grateful for that.
I can't do that yet.
I don't know what to say. Thank you. In terms of YouTube content, once we are done with this, you know, like in its entirety, and I'm really not convinced that there's extra New Game Plus content. I think what I want to do is do a little bit of research and figure out what exactly, like, I took a lot on direction of a particular viewer, and I won't name them again,
I can't do that.
but I took a lot on faith. Not that I don't believe them, or not that I have any reason to think they're lying, but, you know, with the DLC and everything, once you get through the story, what else is there? What's left? I don't know. Oh, if you notice, I did change up. We did have an Aether Fire skill here. That is gone and has made room for the skill supplied by the tome called Obliterate. Obliteration. It's fine for, like, lesser... It's fine for really weak things. It's just something different than holding left click all the time, but, and if I'm being quite honest, it really isn't any better than, you know, the stuff that we're using now. It's just a different move. It's elemental damage plus electrocute damage plus extra crit damage plus reduced resistances. So I could see some sort of, I could see something where you know, you're like holding it there for like a second or so to reduce resistances, but you can't really use one skill while using another skill unless they're passive or they're part of, you know, tacking onto melee attacks or something. So I kind of don't know what to expect. I don't think it'll work out very well for us to be using obliterate in any capacity. I could have swore that there was a rift right here. I would hate to have to perhaps the better thing to do would be to restart and go from there. I could have swore it was right over here. What could I say? The Bastion of Chaos is, well, chaotic, difficult to navigate. What about here? No. I see we have a treasure trove here, but I honestly don't care. I believe 84 and 94 are the next point, like next breakpoints for gear. So at 84, we'll kind of like preview all of our options again. Oh, see, that would have been a great obliteration target. Yeah. It's just it's something different to press, I guess. And for those who are curious, you know, I have a plan for where we're gonna take YouTube after, you know, after Grim Dawn. And I think I've mentioned it a few times, but I'm just gonna mention it again. We have another series that I'd like to complete before we do new games of any kind, and that's gonna be Elix. We're gonna beat Elix 1 and then go through and then do Elix 2, which will be something new. I want to, you know, get the ground running for the YouTube content. I want to make sure I've actually completed the YouTube content. Now, for those that are like wondering, oh, you're doing all this content in all these separate places, like Discord and Twitch and YouTube. How are you going to connect them together? Well, YouTube friends, I've got some good news for you. I'm going to be engaging in editing videos again, finally. What am I going to do with editing? What I think I've more or less decided is, as I complete stuff on Twitch, I'm going to start compiling together a guide of sorts, like a 100%ers every achievement guide out there, for games that we've streamed on Twitch, or I don't know about YouTube yet. So I know you guys are like, we're getting filtered leftovers from Twitch. I guess it's kind of true. I mean, Twitch is my main platform. And I even have a command for that called !main platform, all lowercase, all one word. That explains I'm kind of a Twitch person through and through. It's where I'm hired on as an Amazon representative and everything. But I do want to make sure I'm providing you guys with content. Content that is for you and unique. I don't have too much more to say than that, I guess. We need to go back. I guess I could go back to Fort Ikon and grab a key. It doesn't really matter which stash you use to get a key. We just need a skeleton key. I'll probably also take a second skeleton key, just in case. Stash that. Put all those in the... appropriate places. Resort. And then we're going to take 2 keys. Luckily, I did make a couple just in the over the course of, you know, doing things by myself. I did decide to make a couple of keys, but not really much more to say than that. Let's go to that Necropolis interior, shall we? Back to that chaotic rift. Chthonic rift. As soon as I could click on it. I had an easier time getting into the ethereal rifts than I did the chaos ones. Who'd figure? So, now, for the Bastion of Chaos, I have no idea what to expect. I did no prior research, nothing. This is going to be totally a first-time experience. I hope you enjoy. I'm going to be in kind of a different mode today because of that. So, instead what I'm going to do is sort of put on all my stuff. And then if you guys have questions or you want to know what's going on, feel free to ask. The chat is open. But otherwise, I'm going to kind of soak in the atmosphere for a hot minute. All right, we're going to make sure we throw on anything that is long. 900 second here. Then all the 600 second ones. Okay. I think that covers it. So when I'm going through these places, I'm still going to talk. I'm not going to just stop talking, but because I could soak in the atmosphere and talk at the same time.
I can't do that yet.
One of the things I always try to do, you know, is to come in prepared for dealing with these places. If you find yourself in a challenge dungeon, make sure you have your elixirs and stuff, and whatever extra elixirs you find, extra tonics, anything of the sort, take that stuff with you. Like the mastery elixirs are something you have to find, not yeah, there's something you have to find. They're not something you could just make. I'm not letting you slow me down that easily. Because these places mean business. Yeah, you know, if you're playing vanilla, then you can, you know, you can kind of grind up to and past these rifts, but I don't recommend it. Oh, it's gonna be one of these, huh? Okay. Oh, no, I did not want to do this. That's gonna make re-entering the rift a little bit more difficult. I don't think I have the audio muted, do I? No, I don't. Is it just strict ambient volume? Oh, okay. I guess hard mode, entertainment hard mode engaged. This kind of reminds me of like the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, in the sense that, you know, it's kind of this reddish space where you have creatures that are born of the void, or born of the realm that you're going into. Oblivion had the Daedra, and had like the Daedra that were loyal to Mehrunes Dagon. And you never really killed Daedra in any other place besides Oblivion. You actually had to go back to their home realm to kill them. And just the instead of lava, it's blood. This really makes me think of Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, when I look at this place. Something I should probably mention, just as like a personal aside, I have never read a single book out of the Lovecraftian series. I have never read any of them. I don't have a good reason for why, other than I've just never had an interest in those kinds of books. I should say interest. Like, the world constructed is fairly interesting, but I kind of am not the largest fan of reading about the like these seemingly all-knowing, all-powerful beings that aren't governed by any one particular set of actions. Like, it's nothing but madness. Even in World of Warcraft, I can't really say that the old ones, I didn't find their story all that interesting. Just because it's kind of this, what can I say? I'm like partially desensitized to it. I'm very used to reading and participating in stories involving big bads all the time. There's no, there might be personal motivations for why Cthulhu or is it Norden? Oh, well, okay. I'm not sure what triggered that. Something had to have, though. Must have been some sort of, you know, trap laid bare. And that did not take long at all. It's probably going to get harder. Harder in just a few moments. Or a few moments? In like 150 seconds, when we run out of offense and defense. When we run out of extra stats. But challenge dungeons are how you get your levels, folks. They absolutely are. Okay, what happened? Well, hey, you know, what else can I say? Use the terrain to your advantage. I still also haven't quite gotten back into the swing of things, so I do apologize if my level of entertainment today is worse compared to, you know, say before April. I really, last month, man, just last month really fundamentally changed me as a person. I'm not sure how else to say it except to just say it. I think I'm, you know, just at a baseline, I'm gonna be a little bit more wary of people. I'm sure that's not a good way to live life, is to be defined by your traumas. but people are kind of defined by their trauma. You know, people are defined by... Oh, we're so close I can taste it. People are defined by their experiences. They don't have to be forcefully put into the box. But to say that experiences have no effect or impact on you, you just can't say that. Go ahead and bump up all these resistances. I'm going to enjoy the stats while I've got them, but once they're gone, then I fully accept the fact that I'm going to be very fragile. If necessary, I will turn off Grimmist. I did give some level of thought to that, you know, like turning off Grimmist, and I'm like, I do want a challenge. I would also like to actually get levels. So I thought, well, I'll try it with Grimmist on, and if I don't like it, or I don't like how things are turning out, then I'll just turn Grimmist off. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Have a beautiful day. All that fun stuff. I don't think so. I'm not getting... I shouldn't have gotten anywhere near that. In challenge dungeons, leave nothing to chance. I am really grateful for the bits of advice regarding resistances, though. I could not have imagined, we're not letting you get anywhere near me. I could not have imagined we're not taking chances there, seeing as how bleeding is, you know, the spot where I'm weakest. I am grateful for all the advice I've received thus far. Without the resistances, I can't imagine I would have... I would have done particularly well in, like, the latter half of the game. I would have really been struggling. I would have constantly been running back to try to obtain space. I am grateful for that. That's advice that's just... That's always going to serve me well moving forward. It really, really is. Speaking of which, I lost half my health already. Just run. Just run. Don't stay there. Oh, it's such a mess. What else does this place remind me of? I guess this place also reminds me of something I would see out of the Lords of the Fallen, or something similar like that, where in Lords of the Fallen you have, you could totally transcend or jump from one realm to another. Speaking of Lords of the Fallen, I have read that they are coming out with they're now relabeling the old Lords of the Fallen as like the, you know, the 2004, not, is it 2004? 2014 version. And the new Lords of the Fallen will be considered the definitive one. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it might be better, though, considering what happened when you Ford labeled something. Sonic 2006. Oh. Am I dead? I am not dead. I feel like I could have been, though. Just the key in difficult, difficult encounters is to just take your time. Take your time. And try not to panic. It's easy to just be like, oh, I mean, I talk about panicking, but you don't want to just not be on your toes. The alternative to that is just, in so many instances, you just die and you don't understand why. You want to be on your toes. You just don't want to get too nervous either. I mean, I'm mentioning advice that's good for me. Hopefully it's good for you, but I know everybody is different, is built different, functions different. However you want to say it. Obviously, take my statements with a grain of salt. If they don't work for you, then don't do them. Do what works for you. If you find that, artificially being nervous is required to keep you on your toes, then do it. The Fields of Despair. What? Fields of Despair. Oh, I thought that was an extra rift forming. I guess not. A new rift, another day, another rift, another drumstick. I don't know. I find the drumstick commercials today to be incredibly ludicrous. I guess they're okay, but it's like something you would see out of the 90s, which may be the point. Not today. Not today. You thought you had me. You thought you had me, but you did not. And we picked up a green alert. I totally expect to come out of this with like more iron bits than I put in buying today's dynamite. I bought 90 sticks of dynamite and dropped about 400k or so to do it. We're already almost back up to 5 million, which is just impressive. We're going to go ahead and drink, or you apply all these ointments. And I'm going to wait to apply the next 900 second buff until after I know where the end is. Hello, Ignatius. Goodbye, Ignatius. May you be ignited by my lightning. Well, plasma's hot, guys. It seems like, oh, well, why are fire and lightning created? It's the energy. It's the thermodynamics of it. The thermodynamics explains why it's so hot. I say it explains, but, maybe in an alternate universe, as energy is transferred from one object to another, you lose heat, you don't gain it. You don't emit or release heat, you absorb heat. Wouldn't that be interesting if, the laws of thermodynamics were sort of routinely put on their heads? Go ahead and I want to be really careful because there's a whole bunch of giant boogeymen up there, and I'm trying to figure out where I could possibly toss these crystals. I guess I can kind of attack things. Sometimes that's the thing with electrocute. Sometimes you're able to attack from one ledge to another, and sometimes oh that's not good. Sometimes people actually do their jobs and code it right, and you can't. You're not supposed to. Trying to be really careful. Okay, that guy nearly killed us. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful we were able to get out. I do not want to. I want to do it with Grimmest on. I don't want to ease up on the challenge. I want to show you I could do these new dungeons without that I could do these dungeons without having to resort to essentially being over leveled for them. Because Grimmest is what allows one to actually do these challenge dungeons without over leveling. Because in Dawn of Masteries, you really, it's very easy to get levels. You wouldn't think so, and maybe in the early game it's definitely not easy, depending on your settings. Okay, we're going to go out this way. Thought I heard cultists in the background. Maybe not. Also, yeah, I seem to be okay. Good. Good. Nice, we have random enemies popping up out of the woodwork now. Whoa, which way to go? I guess we're gonna go this way. And be very, very patient and be very, very safe. What's that device in the Earthbound? In Earthbound or Mother? Is it like the supremely or ultra safe capsule? The one that the final boss accidentally gets trapped in. I think his name was Pokey Mensch. That sounds about right. I would love to play Earthbound sometime. That's it. I actually have not played a lot of the classics. I think at best, kind of like the N64 gamer in terms of like classics, or I don't know if I want to include any time I spent with Dreamcast titles, because anything I did play on Dreamcast, it was either a rental or was over at a friend's house one time. And not actually, I didn't actually own it. I couldn't complete it or beat it on my own terms or time. I would love to bring some stuff like that. I guess I'm also still trying to figure out, and I'm shifting conversation topics again. I am trying to figure out where I want to delineate Twitch, YouTube, and Discord/Patreon. I want to provide content that makes the platform makes like your time on the platform spent. Not good. You know what? If you can't hit them one way, you can hit them another. That's what we're gonna do, is hit them that other way. Beautiful. It's probably about time to drink all these. You didn't think I would notice you? I did. One eye on the beat, one eye on the streets. You know what I'm saying? There we go. All of our resistances buffed back up, right where we should have them. If only there were interesting lore. Right now, it's kind of like, here's this place with nothing in it. And you know what? It actually makes sense why there isn't lore. Why there aren't text entries. I can totally get that. Because this is the place where only chthonic beings lie. And they don't need to write things. They just remember. They just know. Oh, wouldn't that be something? What if human history were conveyed entirely through memory? And everyone just kind of had this sort of, you know, collective space for it. There wasn't a need to remember your history because it's something you knew and no one could forget. Can you imagine how many broken bridges could be mended? Or maybe, you know, how many more broken bridges could be created? Because people won't forget. Nice. I guess one nice thing about, you know, not relying on a single attack type is you can do things that are prohibited by one or more different attack types. Like, I have a toolbox that allows me to just get around stuff like this. If I don't want to enter an area, I can rely on Magma Vortex or Magma Tempest and Storm Crystal to do it. Or I can rely on Obliteration if I have to. There you are, Sir Blade of Chthon. Gonna be extra careful. Riveting gameplay, right? I know this isn't the most entertaining thing ever. Especially with the silence. The silence is killing me. I get that it's fitting and appropriate. But I definitely feel like music would have, you know, made the remaining ambience go down much easier. I will at least say that all the choices regarding the OST have been fitting so far. It's kind of like not kind of like, but in Dark Souls 3, I bemoan the lack of music besides boss music, but I understand why. It's a narrative decision, and stuff has to make up for it if you're gonna go with a narrative decision that maybe not everyone agrees with, or is highly controversial. Not having good music to listen to music can make or break your game. It just can. I have this sudden urge to vomit, and I do not know why. A friend of the family, a friend of my stepmother's came over, and she brought along with her some baked bread. It was good baked bread. But I'm beginning to suspect that it either wasn't stored properly or was just kind of, left out on the counter. Or something. Because I've got that urge, that knot is just kind of sitting at the back of my stomach now. I can feel it. I'm doing my best to suppress it. Hello, Balvadar, the Bloodthirsty. Now, I believe Carasadal, Wares of the Damned. Elixir of the Hunt. Interesting. Interesting. Gonna take just a moment to look for like any potion, any elixirs, oils, or tonics that we could use to help like perpetuate our stay here. Nice. We found the pulsating oblivion shard. So we did an obsidian shard. So we were in the right place. We're going to put on this and then drink more. I guess I'll drink this extra elixir. Sure, why not? This silence is really quite foreboding. It's hard to want to talk in the silence. I did say I would take a moment to kind of observe it, and I meant that. So I guess that's what I'm going to do while I figure out whether or not I'm going to have to go to the bathroom sink to upchuck. So I guess I'm going to make sure I really take that full minute for you guys to appreciate the silence, or be just as unnerved by it as me. Oh, well, hello. What do we have here? Okay, just random spot. Random runes, I guess. I'm sure it's not random, but I've yet to make sense of their placement. All these twisty, windy passages. Another place that, you know, Anarchy and I guess just this place in general remind me of is a little slice of Hermaeus Mora's realm, Apocrypha. Just going to not take any chances. And it too is kind of labyrinthine and maze-like and all that fun stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom for like a hot minute. I guess I'm also gonna take a stretch break at the same time while I figure out what the hell it is I'm feeling. So we'll probably, you know, break for 5 minutes. Or longer if I'm, you know, at the toilet. And when we return, we're going to continue going through these rifts. We've already gone through 2 of them so far. And I will see you after the break. I realized I forgot to mute my mic. So sorry. Oh, and I forgot to pause, which means we've had the elixirs ticking down. So, I realized that I haven't eaten anything today, apart from like a slice of bread. And so my body is probably in mutiny for that reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my webcam and my mic so that I can eat. Because you guys don't want to hear... It's spaghetti. You guys don't want to hear slurping noises or anything like that. So I'm not going to leave the game paused. I'm going to try to play and eat. So, you know, we can continue having this content. But if I don't eat something, my body is going to continue to get more and more upset at me. So, I'm still here. I might pause a moment to try to comment on one thing or another, but otherwise, I'm mostly going to be silent while I eat. Sorry. This won't happen again. You can guarantee that. That rabbit hole just gets deeper, doesn't it? I'm trying to find good compromises. So that I'm just not sitting here in silence. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to eat between break or something. Yeah, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I've had a couple of bites. I should be okay. So soon as the circumstances are good, I'll turn on the face cam again. And just make sure there isn't clacking dishware or something. So, hopefully we're getting to, like, the bottom. Not that I dislike entropy or anything, but, you know, I can only take so much. Hello. So far, I would say maybe it's by design, but I really don't have much I can remark on for this place other than it's sheer desolation, right? Like it feels so empty, and I guess that's really kind of the point, right? It's this formless chaos with nothing remarkable to speak of. It's all kind of the same.
I can't do that yet.
I am silenced. Not good. Not good at all. Oh, I thought I was gonna die. For absolutely certain, I thought I was gonna die. Thank goodness. I would have hated to eat the egg salad for that. You know, a play on, you know, I would have had egg on my face. Or I would have eaten egg, sucked eggs. Well, how about egg salad? What does that mean? Messy eggs, clearly with chunks of other stuff added. Speaking of like salads, anyone ever have a good potato salad? I've had a good potato salad. We've recently started making ones with chopped pickles, potatoes, mustard, and a whole bunch of other good stuff. It's delicious. I could have if I could have dinner on that egg salad. That's how good it is. Of course, I've also had horrendous egg salad that's made me want to put it down as soon as I've taken the first bite. Egg salad's one of those things, you either make it well or you make it poor. And it really isn't... There's not a great deal of room for unremarkable egg salad. There really isn't. At least not in my purview. And maybe other people have had unremarkable but edible egg salad, and you know, feel free to say that there are unremarkable egg salads, but in my honest opinion, they're either really bad or they're really good, and there really just isn't much room for the in-between. Keep adding points for health. The raw stats are the best thing I have for a DPS increase at this point. Okay, where else? I don't know whether to go up or down. Well, north or south, really. Yet another formless feature of this landscape. Everything is the same. Its unremarkability should be remarkable. I feel so torn on maps like this. I get why they're like this, but I always find them off-putting. Like, I have to have something that's visually striking, or it just doesn't do a whole bunch for me. That's not to say the map is bad. If being unremarkable, confusing, and formless is the goal, then they have done their jobs. Congratulations, Crane Entertainment. You've made exactly what you set out to make. I get the feeling, though, that they kind of want it to be remarkable. And I guess it's not... You know, it's not like it's not visually striking. It is. It's got beautiful red crystals. And, you know, it's got glistening black obsidian. It's got some features I could talk about. It's got a whole river of blood, for Christ's sake. But at the same time, you know, we came from we've had 2 more floors of that. Right, we've had 2 floors of this, where it's not, where we've had, you know, the visual is striking the first time, and then afterwards it doesn't really offer much. Gotta be careful. Blood everywhere. What is this? A phlegathon? Hello, Ignatius. It's nice to see you again for like the 15th time. Okay, I believe this answers, you know, the question of where we're supposed to go. We're starting to figure out the mess. Starting to figure out the mess anyway. Anyone else ever find a level like this where you want to comment on how remarkable it is, but you find it difficult because somewhere deep down you sort of consider it formless and unremarkable, You could totally get the appeal for why it's formless and unremarkable. It's kind of this love-hate thing. You're fairly sure?
That skill's not ready.
Yes, we know the skill isn't ready. I'm asking you to ignore physics for 1 second, game. And let me teleport. Let him cook. Meat, let him teleport. Just let him move. It's not hard. Let him move. Let me move. Slowly but surely, we are making our way through this place. This formless place. This desolate place. They picked some really fitting ambience, by the way. If you're going for, like, wind tunnels, which you can see clouds of, like, smoke and stuff. Like, the visuals and, like, the lack of music pair, like, unsurprisingly well. But because they pair surprisingly well in this, like, really disquieting way, you don't have the typical reaction. At least I would like to think people don't have the typical reaction you'd expect. I have a hard time with silence. Maybe I'm projecting just a little. I personally have a hard time with silence. When I hear silence and I know it isn't because nature, I assume it's bad. Oh, well. Welcome to hell, I guess. Feels like hell on Earth. Hello, Sharzul. Goodbye, Sharzul. There's a rift here that we can't reach. Yeah, this is not interactable. Okay, so it's just a big rift. Cool, I guess. And what do we have here? Is this it? Wow, it's, well, I should say that we're overpowered compared to what we've been doing. Anyway, yeah, oh, the sweet release of music. Gritty western horror music. Ugh. That made me have to take a stretch. Boy, it is nice to finally have something to listen to. The silence was killing me. Yeah, I didn't like... That was the one part about Dark Souls 3 I didn't like for similar reasons. I hated the silence. Like, I get it as a choice, as a narrative choice. I really do. But at the same time... That's one of the reasons why I like Dark Souls 2 more than I like Dark Souls 3, was because I had something else keeping me company besides silence. And, you know, the misery of whatever boss I happened to be fighting. Whether it was Dark Souls 3 Dancer, or Dark Souls 3 Lothric, or later on it became Dark Souls 3 Dark Eater Midir. The silence drove me ape. Absolutely ape. Oh, right. Before continuing, We need to go talk to Anasteria. Back at Fort Ikon, we have the shard. What do you intend to do with this, Anasteria? That is what I would like to know. What do you intend to do with this? Better. You've brought me obsidian. I can sense it. Yes, here you go. Thank you. What a fine sample. It absolutely reeks of the corrupting powers of the void. I'll have to handle this one carefully. But while you were gone, another matter of some import has come to my attention. And that is, I have uncovered the location of one of our enemies, Archivist Thelon. So this is where that name is supposed to be. He's a powerful Aetherial that was instrumental in the initial attacks on Ireland. He is personally checking on activities in Port Valbury, a reclusive city that prided itself on commerce and booming trade with the capital. This also made it a prime target for the Aetherials' initial incursion into human society. Before the Grim Dawn even struck, Valbury was already doomed. So long as Thelon lives, humanity will never be free of ethereal influence. This is an opportunity that cannot be squandered. Travel to the conflagration northeast of Homestead and seek out the Ethereal Rift. It will take you to Valbury. Track down Thelon and bring me back his head. No time for questions. Go. How do you know all this? Have I given you reason to doubt me before? I have great insight into the Aetherials, but the opportunity will be squandered if we do not act now. Thelon will move on, and then he will become lost to me. I know what I ask of you is dangerous, but I have confidence in your abilities. Bring me back his head, and we shall all gain from it. I wasn't expecting challenge dungeons, the quest line, to be present, so we're gonna ignore this for now. I would like to actually conclude the story today, and then come back and deal with it later, because I feel like we're now going to be going backwards in terms of challenge dungeons. We'll see. We'll see. Before continuing, we're going to deposit these elixirs and things we no longer need. I will sort this eventually, whenever I feel like it. You already know this, so we can sell it. And we have found it really strange that we didn't need any of the... Well, I should say I found it strange. I did not find it strange. I found it empowering that we didn't have... It just felt so lacking. What else am I supposed to say? I felt like the challenge dungeon was probably the most uneventful thing since sliced bread, and I don't understand why. Well, maybe I do. It's because of the power. Like, if we didn't have this level of power that we have, we would most certainly be feeling it a different way, but we don't. We do have, hello, nice shoulders for a character build I might not employ again. I guess it was just not... I was expecting the quest material to pertain to the final moments of the game and not, you know, going back a whole chapter, but whatever. Maybe these two challenge dungeons were only meant to be tackled during the end game, and us tackling them in the way that we did was incredibly out of order for the game. Alright, well, let's go kick some Logarian butt. The Outcast's Revenge. Well, well, well. So the quest name even tells you what to expect. I almost want to do it just to see, you know, what she has to say. But we got a Logarian to go find. Well, we got a Logarian to stop, but presumably we're gonna fail. Just because the cultists have had all this time to sort out, you know, logistics. All this time. Many, 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 many years, I'm sure. Of just going unabated. Like, these two factions, the Aetherials and the Chthonians, did not get anywhere by, you know, doing everything spur of the moment. These guys planned. Hello, Zaria. Nice to see you again. Too bad you're gone. Yeah, these factions did a lot of planning, and they did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, before making their final moves. You know, and I really do think the Aetherials might have moved first, based on some of the dialogue or some of the text you get from reading the diaries at Darkvale Gate. Make sure I got this correct. Yeah, Darkvale Gate or Darkvale Village. You get quite a bit about things going along, and you know, about how things are turning out up north in the capital. Both of these factions, which hate each other's guts so badly. Maybe hate isn't the right word. Maybe they must be necessarily adversarial because the Cult of Chthon does not care in the slightest. No, maybe? How do I explain this? Oh, one is seeking to take vessels away, and the other needs vessels. Like, the Cult of Chthon is just killing human beings, whereas the Aetherials need human beings to possess. In order to effectively do their job. Maybe. I don't know. At some point, the Aetherial kind of loses the human body and kind of becomes this amalgam, but at the same time, how else did things go this far? They didn't get along by possessing animals. I can tell you that much. With all the evil unleashed in this world, joining with the Bloodsworn made so much sense at the time. First, it was to escape the horrors unleashed by the Aetherials, the death of my family, my wife, my son. But then later, I started to understand and believe the words the cult leaders were telling me. The sense of belonging made me feel important, that I was part of something greater than myself. Now that I stand in the halls of this mighty place, I feel the eyes of all those who gave up their lives, the leaders, the great heroes, and the countless thousands who followed them. They fought so that we could live without fear of the nameless fiends, which I now serve. I can feel the honor and sacrifice of my ancestors, and I am ashamed because of the terrors I have left in my path. For months, I have done the most vile and unspeakable things. The deaths of husbands, wives, and children are on my bloody hands for no other reason than to serve my own selfishness, to wash me clean of my own fears and the devastating loss that drove me to this madness. Death and murder, all in the name of some long-dead god who has no more right to the blood in my veins than I do. Blood that belongs to those who I've killed in its name. The blood-soaked foundation of this forgotten battleground has peeled away the fear and awoken me. There is no forgiving what I have done, no punishment that will ever make it right. But I can give my last breath, my last drop of blood, and at last my life, to cause as much damage as I can. I do not stand alone. The great heroes stand with me, and I do not fear. Well, at least you woke up, buddy. It would have been nice to have someone, you know, who was in on the operation, but considering how brutal some of the prisoner treatments are, and unsurprisingly so, because the breakdown of all societal law has long since passed, I'm not surprised that you took your own life, really. Yeah, I don't think that's really a DPS increase in the slightest. At most, it's like moving the needle for the other damage types and not really for anything I'm already doing. And we're back to wondrous, listless silence. The wondrous parts in air quotes, by the way. But we're finally coming up upon the end of the base story. We're nowhere near done, of course. We have so many other things to do. We've got whatever storyline pervades the Ashes of Malmeth and the Forgotten Gods. Which, from what I understand, Forgotten Gods deals a lot more with the gods themselves, rather than the aftermath of the people dealing with a broken, shattered world. Because, you know, regardless of whatever mythos you hold dear, whatever you do or don't believe in, even if you don't believe that the gods are gods, but instead these super powerful people that just haven't died yet, even if you believe that, even if you believe that, those people that you strip of godhood still have their stories to tell, right? They still did things that may or may not have been tangible in the real world. Even in terms of just like normal religion, you can go and find the gravesite where Jesus was said to have stayed for 3 days and 3 nights, like where his body was interred. And then he rose out of the grave. You could go and find that. You could actually find Noah's Ark. Or I'm sure many other locations and places that are sacred. And I'm sure the same can be said for the places that would be considered profane. I'm quite sure Satanists have their equivalent sites of worship they too consider sacred. Me as a Christian has a tough time reconciling conscious talk about Satanists, but I do my best to not be incensed as soon as I say the words. Perhaps rightfully so. After all, religion pits one man against another necessarily to form tribes. That's just kind of how it works. If people believe in things that are diametrically opposed to whatever you believe in, you're not that inclined to make a friend out of them. At best, you tolerate, and then at worst, you kill, you murder. You suppress, you enslave. That's just kind of... I wouldn't say it's necessarily how all religion turns up, but those who tend to wear it as a shield turn the religion in question into that. They turn it into this depraved thing that does not serve all fellow man equally, and instead only serves itself. It's something that I, as a person, have... I wouldn't say I have the easiest time coming to grips with it, but I've bore witness to many perspectives. I have watched many people discuss and talk. I've been in open rooms where people of different faiths have gotten together and talked about their differences and the things they share in common. It would be nice if the world were in that state again, where people could openly discuss their differences and come to some kind of conclusion, some kind of natural consensus. These days, I feel as though humanity is devolving back into, tribal behavior. Something I thought we had gotten past a long time ago, but maybe we never did. And I know we're talking about what does the Cult of Chthon or what does this game have to do with discussing religion? None. I didn't ask for it. You're right. You didn't ask for it. But I feel as though we can't really talk about the Cult of Chthon without addressing the big elephant in the room. People are going to point to this and say, this is a caricature of what religion is like. This is what a cult is like. All religions are cults. Destroy them, terminate them, make them illegal, make people unable to band together in terms of a selected ideology or mythos ever again. Doesn't matter. The Wodenists and the Church of Aphrodite could be in charge right now. Those are two neo-religions that have formed since the advent of monotheism that have they're the two that stick out to me anyway. I'm sure there are others. Hello, what do we have here? Something has changed. Something in the air feels different. It feels like being inside of a bottle when a cork has popped. All the pressure released and my soul pulled from my body to the opening of an explosive release. My mind reels, and I find it hard to stay on my feet. I could feel it deep beneath the ground. They have finally completed the final rites, and the door has opened. The blood surges inside me, pushing, pulling, drawing me closer. I must go. I must see the Great Awakening. If I'm chosen, I'm ready to be whole once more, to be one with Chthon. Kabbalist Zakal. Okay. Let's go kill ourselves a Logorian, shall we? A Logorian? Logorian. Seal of the Logorian. Boy, that didn't take long, did it? But we have not found the Logorian yet. I could feel the anticipation building. Ooh, nice. What is this? Oh, it's a vitality ring. Okay. Well, hey. Fresh blood. Nice quote. I see we still have a little bit of a dungeon to go before, it's over. At least the base game anyway. I want to keep reminding myself that, because I feel the temptation to stop. I definitely feel the temptation to stop, but I will continue for the sake of the DLC and for showing you guys a complete picture. I'm excited. I've never seen Logorian. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. Because I have never seen the Logorian. Logorian. Uh-oh. And it crashed. I was excited, and then I was disappointed. We knew that that was happening. We knew that was happening. Yes, it crashed. I can't say I'm surprised that it crashed. Guess we get to do it again, huh? So because I have open food just kind of sitting on my desk, I'm gonna go take these hourly breaks. I'm not taking one yet, but I am gonna have to take one in the next 23 minutes. And I was so excited too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take. Wow, that did not last all the way back here, huh? Well, at least it isn't Devil's Crossing. It could have been worse. It could have been Devil's Crossing again.
Got some meat stashed.
This back here, here, and here. Anything else? No, that looks like it's all of it. I'm gonna go ahead and keep my inventory clean while I've got the chance to do so. At least we get some music again. Good lord. Is the last moments of the game really just silence? I hope not. I wonder what... It's not like I was doing anything intensive. I wonder what led to the crash. Ugh. Ear itch. I'm not sure. Well, I guess we should do our best to try to put that behind us, huh? And now we're going to try to speed run and just get through as many minimal areas as possible. Nice. I love when a good plan comes together. Oh, let's not forget to pick up the codex, though. I'm still excited. What can I say? A crash might be pretty significant, but I'm not going to let it, you know, tamp down my spirit for too long. Get back before I bleed to death. Yeah, we're so close. I can taste it. I want to know what happens. And of course, if there's a cinematic, we might actually not get it, because this is technically the mod assumes you've beaten the game already. So it accomplishes a lot by skipping cutscenes. Yeah, that's mostly what it does. It accomplishes this by skipping cutscenes. I'm fairly sure that that's... Or maybe by virtue of working on a custom map. Because technically that's how... that is how Dawn of Masteries operates, is on a custom map. Is the custom map disables the cutscenes. Something like that. I'm quite curious to know. Whether or not that's being done manually or by virtue of the game itself. I'd love to know if that is vanilla behavior. Maybe I could do like a simple test or something off camera and find out. Ow. These guys hurt a lot. Doesn't really matter how I get there. You get there the same way either way. How do you like meeting your maker? How do you like being reunited with Chthon himself? You enjoy it, Chthonian bastards? That's what I can imagine. If this whole thing were turned into a movie for some reason, I can totally imagine some guy who would be a good tough guy. Maybe Sylvester Stallone. You know, someone who acts the tough guy on camera often. Or maybe a Jason Statham, something. I could totally imagine, a really signature line if Grim Dawn were ever a movie. I don't know. I think it would be too grisly. Like, Grim Dawn would have to be like NC-17. I feel like this would be the type of thing that would definitely NC-17. Just because in order to really convey the gritty nature of the game, you have to show a lot. Now, of course, you don't want a movie to be NC-17. I've learned that's called the kiss of death among production companies, because if it's NC-17, then you're not gonna take your kids to go see it. You're not gonna cheat in your teenager. Like, NC-17 has like a lot more strict guidelines on it for some reason, which is really weird. You think the M rating, or whatever the normal rating for a really gross movie is, should just be enough on its own, but it isn't. I've always found that strange. The stuff adults can do should just be given the highest rating. Whereas NC-17 should definitely be more like, this is something you need to be at least 13 to see. But anyone past that point could see it. I don't know. I'd have to go and look at the ratings guide again for all the different ratings, because I know there are a lot. Oh, it's not rated M, it's rated R. I'm too used to game title ratings. I forget. It's different. Hello, Ekatzul. Goodbye, Ekatzul. Maybe actually get through it this time without crashing. This was about the room where we crashed, I think. No crash. We're good. So it was a random crash. I thought maybe that room might have been special, but I guess not. Which is fine with me. I actually kind of wished it wasn't a random crash, because then it would actually be, useful to talk about, but whatever. I guess I can't complain for a random crash. How's everyone enjoying the gameplay so far? Or, like, Grim Dawn as a whole? Do people like watching it, this sort of thing? I know I'm not a very big, entertainer. So I'm probably asking this question into a void, or some kind of formless void. But for those who are watching, like, this as a VOD after the fact, I'm curious to know what your opinions are. I do my best to try to show where I'm going, what I'm doing, and why I do what I do in games like this. In games where you can have a myriad different number of builds. A myriad different number of builds, and you can go any number of different places on the map. And you'll have a different answer for why you chose this direction or that direction. I'm just kind of curious. Do people like the decisions I've made so far? Or, or like, I can at least respect the decisions you've made up to this point. Or are there some decisions you disagree with? I'm more than happy to hear that down in the comments. I do read the comments. If it's something that isn't super response worthy, I at least give it a thumbs up. So if it's like not if it's not a joke, or it's not you know, it's not a request or an inquiry or a question, you know, I at least give it a thumbs up. I at least try to make sure you guys know I've acknowledged your statement and I'm not ignoring you. But I won't also find reasons to reply to statements either. I try not to force a response. So beautiful. All this death and destruction. That's why I chose this build. No, I mean, no. I chose it because I wanted to do something different than, you know, my usual stuff. And I would call this different. Different in the sense of I don't have my usual blizzardy cold cool like toolkit. Haha. Not very funny, I guess. Not punny either, I imagine. It's different than what I usually do by about a hair. And of course the most different you'll probably see is okay. The most different I think you're going to spot is when I show you guys the quests that deal with the Order of Death's Vigil. Because you have to be... you don't have to be of a different yoke. Dawn of Masteries kind of relegates the decision to little more than flavor. Because you'll have everything you need to complete your build, regardless of whether you do go for the correct faction or not. But oh, ow, that hurts. Stop picking on my bleed resistance. I completely blanked on what I was gonna say. Partially because I'm thinking about what's over here. But I'm curious. I want to know, you know, if there are improvements I could make, what kind of improvements would they be? You know, and please don't limit yourself to this game. I'm just genuinely curious about your input. I wish I could say there are emails, or I get emails or what have you, but I don't get emails. Perhaps rightfully so. I don't know. I don't know how I want to handle. If I put my personal email out there, I definitely feel as though I might get trolls. I might get people who want to issue death threats or this or that. I've heard so many YouTubers talk about, you know, the death threats. People who just don't care about you. They don't care what kind of trouble they get into either. They're just malevolent, evil human beings. Hello. The final seal. I see something over there, so I'm going to come over here and read. At last, we stand before the blood-soaked gates of victory. The Logorian shall soon be awakened, and with it we shall usher in a new age. It is you, my loyal supplicants, that have paved the road to our final victory. Your dedication and sacrifice has carried us to the threshold, and I shall see us through. The ancients were determined in their construction of this final chamber. 100 of the Imperium's finest arcanists dropped dead to empower the runes which now bind the Logorian's tomb. They believe their sacrifice worthy, their seals impenetrable. But we have an army of thousands, surging with the power of the dead god, power that will not be contained. I have gladly put a blade to the throats of my most faithful, and felt the rush of their life-blood escaping, blood they have given willingly in this final hour. With the power of their blood, I have shattered the final seal and begun the ritual. Soon the Logorian shall stir from its eternal slumber. The world will shudder once more under the gaze of the mouth of Chthon. Let the blood flow. Thalanus, Blood Lord of Chthon. Goodness, boy does that guy have 6 eggs for breakfast. What on earth? Okay, I was about to say, I could click on this. They promised us freedom. Freedom in exchange for 10 long years of back-breaking labor, but now I know that we're all going to die in this place. Last night, while we slept, they took all the tools and the food. The entrance to the chamber is now solid rock and buzzes with an unearthly hum as if a swarm of wasps were inside. We have been sealed in this horrible place with nothing but these rune-covered crates. There's a putrid moisture to them that bites at the back of your nostrils. I can't stare at the writing on them for too long. They burn the eyes and blur the vision. I don't think we should open them, but the others are starting to get hungry and hoping there is food inside. I know there isn't any. Every muscle in my body is telling me to get as far away from these crates as possible. The runes marking them are the same as those we were ordered to carve into the walls of this chamber. I believe this is a prison of some kind, built to hold whatever is slowly oozing out of the containers, and now we are trapped in here with it. I may have been on the losing side of the war, had to watch many of my comrades die on the battlefield, but this is no way for a man to die. Well, 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 well. Tentacles everywhere. And we have one more chthonic rift. What is this? Oh. It brings us right back. Interesting. Game, how considerate of you. I didn't think you would do that in the last hours. We have a rift. We could plop one down. But it's cool that they let us into the crypt with this. Ulgrim, you are not gonna last long, bud.
That skill's not ready.
Green's Trove. Okay. Well. Goodbye, Ulgrim. That didn't take long. At all. Back out to the outside then. That was so... Are we going to acknowledge that Ulgrim just got swept up into a rift? Are we going to acknowledge that at all? No? I imagine that was supposed to be a really long battle. Kind of similar to the one you had with Belial in Diablo 3. Where it was like a two-faced fight that was supposed to have a lot of bells and whistles to it.
You've returned. Is it finished then?
The beast has been banished, but Ulgrim was pulled into the void along with it.
So our great moment of triumph is soured with tragedy. The cult's defeat at the Necropolis marks humanity's first major victory in this conflict, proving that we are not going to simply lie down and let ourselves be wiped out by fiends and spirits. Word of this victory will spread and give people hope that someday this nightmare will truly be over. Yet we cannot forget those who sacrificed their lives to bring us here. Brave men and women of the Black Legion who took up arms in the defense of Uralon, a nation that scorned them as criminals, outcasts, and even traitors. In death, they were none of those things. They died as heroes. But I refuse to count Ulgrim among the dead just yet. I owe him that much. I could use your help. Are you with me?
I have some questions. What about the Aetherials? They are as much a threat as ever. Much of the Empire is still under their control. We must be prepared for an extended conflict. It may be years before we even breach the capital, much less expel the Aetherials from Cairn. Another question. The cult is still out there. Your actions at the necropolis have severely crippled their activities. It will be some time before we have to deal with their ilk again. For now, we must see to strengthening our defenses. What about Ulgrim?
Arum Ital. Arum Ital. Lo ith soler. Lo ith bismir. Monum Ulgrim thon colo ut crane. Attack the loop! This is too dangerous. Need to find another way.
The rift gate! Something's coming through!
Inquisitor Creed. Devil's Crossing was attacked.
Take it easy, John. What's happened?
Some new kind of Aetherial. Just smashed right through our defenses. We need reinforcements. We're in bad shape.
I'll send help, but I can't spare much. We're equally pressed here. The loss of Ulgrim to the Void may be more serious than you realize.
Ulgrim is dead, Creed. You must know that. My people need help now. We won't survive another attack.
John,
It came from Malmouth. That thing that attacked Devil's Crossing. I escaped the city with a small group 2 weeks ago. Most died crossing the burning fields. My father was pulled into the bog by cannibals. I had to leave him. I was the only one who made it to Devil's Crossing. Malmouth has been a living nightmare since the Grim Dawn. I was part of the resistance there, if you can call it that. The Aetherials toyed with us, as if we ever had a chance. They let us fight on because they needed us. Needed our bodies for the grotesque things they make deep beneath the city. You think you're safe here, behind your stone walls. But those things from Malmouth will keep coming, and they will find you. And no fortress will ever be able to save you.
a chilling tale indeed. In our fight against the Chthonians, we've overlooked a growing Aetherial threat. We must find Ulgrim. But maybe we can aid Malmouth at the same time. You've already done a great deal, but we must ask for your help once again. We need you to strike at the heart of the Aetherial invasion, far to the east, in the ruined city of Malmouth.
Wow, that was loud. I am super sorry about that. I was not expecting the game to get that loud. As soon as I realized, I turned it down, but it was too late. I'm sorry, headphone users. I'll have to put a new warning on the VOD for that. With the help of the Taken, we've dealt a serious blow to the cult of Chthon. I don't want to diminish the immensity of such a triumph, especially given the small force and limited resources we're working with, but I fear it has come at a great cost. While our attention was focused on denying the Logarian entrance to this world, the Aetherials were certainly not idle. Many in Devil's Crossing have paid the ultimate price, but such is the way of war, and it may sound callous to say, but we traded well, losing only a handful while preventing a monstrosity from escaping the void that could have heralded the end of the world as we know it is a win for humanity. What disturbs me, though, is the loss of Ulgrim to the void. Bourbon apparently does not share my concern, and I think he sees it as ill-afforded sentiment on my part. Bourbon sees Ulgrim as merely a man, but I am certain there is more to him. I believe he is an ascendant, a man who has become a demigod. Ulgrim expertly plays the part of a jovial and unassuming character, but his eyes say much more. He makes offhanded references to historical events with details and a familiarity of someone recalling a personal memory. For all his outward jocularity, there is gravity to him, and it is clear he has witnessed much. I suspect more than one could experience in a single lifetime. Yet for all that, and despite his obvious efforts to downplay it, Ulgrim possesses remarkable strength and energy for the middle-aged man he appears to be. He often carries himself in a relaxed, casual manner, moving languidly, but at rare moments I've seen him react and move with impossible speed. I fear that he could do much more than he has in fighting the enemies of man, but I'm not sure why he is holding back. Perhaps we will never know. Maybe Bourbon is right. Perhaps Ulgrim is lost to the void. Somehow, though, I feel we will see him again, and if we do, it would go a long way towards confirming my suspicions. Then again, strange times are these, when a nameless wretch, cut down from the noose, is written to become possibly the greatest hero of our time. If it is the Taken on this path, and if the Taken continues on this path and survives the war, I perhaps if they too are on the path of ascendancy. Well, loud cutscene aside, Creed. Oh, actually, before we talk to Creed, let's
We meet again, though under grim circumstances. You should speak to Creed. We were attacked by a never-before-seen Aetherial monstrosity. It exited the rift yesterday morning, and while the salt lines caused a great agony, it was able to cross and attack. We lost many people taking it down, including Sadina, who sacrificed herself to cripple the beast with one of her roots.
Oh no!
She rest in peace.
Oh no! What? Sadina? No, how am I gonna respect talents now? No, I'm kidding. May she rest in peace.
Her name is Amala. She wandered into Devil's Crossing a few days ago. Claims she's from Malmouth, far to the north. If that's true, and thus far I have little reason to believe otherwise, then she's been through one hell of a journey to reach us. And she did not paint a pretty picture of the city. We were attacked by a never-before-seen Aetherial monstrosity.
I've never been so far from Malmouth, or surrounded by so many armed men.
May I ask you some questions, ma'am? Miss Torvin, is it? Oh, sure. What would you like to know? What can you tell me about Malmouth? It's where I grew up. Really, it was the only home I've ever known. The day it all started, my mom never came home from the market. Father was the only other family I had in the city, so I sought him out to look for her, but when the whole city erupted in the chaos, we knew that she was never, ever coming home. Everyone was butchered in the first conflict. Some of us gathered in the sewers in hopes of fighting back, but it was all futile. The Aetherials let us think that we stood a chance. In truth, they were just harvesting us for their grotesque creations. A group of us had enough of the horrors, so we made a plan to escape. Only I made it to Devil's Crossing. Anything you can tell us about the Aetherials over there? At first it was much like here, the dead rising with that eerie aether glow, but then the mutations started rising from the depths of the city, each more grotesque and twisted than the last. It's as if they were experimenting on the bodies of the fallen, which we already knew to be the case here in much less detail when we went to Warden Krieg's lab. And we watched Darius Cronley. He talked to us about stuffing shards into the backs of living men. We could probably presume he did this with the dead as well. Not to mention the things we learned about Port Valbury when we went there the first 2 times were a lot. They were already experimenting with the dead and corrupting the living. What remains of one of their latest creations awaits you in Devil's Crossing. Anything I should know about the road up to Malmouth? The Aether fire was spreading rapidly, so I'm not sure there even is a way up to Malmouth anymore. But before you could worry about endless fields of fire, you have to make it through the wilderness in Gloomwald and Ugdenbog, and that's not much better. The mushrooms there are toxic. Some even release caustic spores when you get near. The animals are ruthless, but the cannibals, knowing that they were once people, makes it so much worse. I never thought I'd have to kill people. I still feel their blood on my hands. How did you make it all the way here? I didn't start out on my own. We were part of a group that slipped through the Aetherial defenses in Malmouth. Most of us didn't make it very far due to the Aether fire. I had to leave my father behind in Gloomwald. but I was beginning to lose hope, but then I stumbled upon Devil's Crossing. Thank you. Okay, that's interesting. Ulgrim. How are you faring without the hammer? Yep, still procure fine armor, all that fun stuff. All right, Creed, what do you have to say for us?
Good, you're back. Do you have a moment?
Sure.
I struggle to admit this. I must abandon my efforts at opening a rift to reach Ulgrim. For all I've learned in battling the cult, I'm no warlock. During my last attempt, I nearly lost control of the ritual when something tried to breach my portal from the other side. This is too dangerous to continue. To make matters worse, Captain Bourbon has just arrived with a girl named Amanda.
Bourbon.
Very
Sorry,
clever
the way you said that was...
While we struggled here to stop the Chthonians from unleashing terror and madness upon the world, the Aetherials have been far from idle. Everything they had done in this region is merely a sample of what is to come, if what Amala says is true. As much as it pains me to say this, our plans to rescue Ulgrim are secondary to this rising threat in the fallen city of Malmeth. The passage north from Burwich is quickly closing as the Aether fire consumes everything. But perhaps we can accomplish both goals at once.
I have some questions. Why is finding him so damn important? There's a lot about Ulgrim that you don't know, that none of us know about. He seems more than human, and I suspect he has been walking this world for a lot longer than you and I combined. Ah, referring back to the journal entry. Makes sense. He could become a devastating weapon of the Chthonians if we allow them to corrupt his mind. Maybe there's some degree of camaraderie influencing my thinking, but I do feel he could become a threat if we leave him to be consumed by the madness of the void. You might be right, he could be a new Ligorian. More questions. I'm going to destroy a barrier with a pendant. It may not look like much, but that pendant has helped me out of many a tricky situation, including my ordeal with Warden Krieg. Trust me, it is inscribed with powerful luminary runes. Throw it into the barrier and it will do the rest. What can I expect out there? The road north from Burwich has never been pleasant, passing through the treacherous gloom-walled Ugdenbog. Between the toxic plant life and murky waters housing some of Cairn's most dangerous beasts, beyond the established road it is an inhospitable hell. But that is precisely why the Coven has wow. Holy Christ and crackers, let's try that again. That is precisely why the Coven chose to hide out there. No one would willingly venture into those untamed lands, so the Coven was isolated and left in peace. What happened in Malmeth? Amala can give you a more up-to-date explanation, but Malmeth was one of the first cities to fall to the Aetherials when the Grim Dawn occurred. Ulgrim passed through there on his way south when we split up at the capital, and his reports were as depressing as you would expect. We had believed Malmeth to be a lost cause, completely overrun by the enemy and devoid of survivors, but Amala here is a testament to humanity's resilience and evidence that the fight for Malmeth is not over yet. Is there no other way to Malmeth? Used to be you could travel across the lake, but with the waters full of eldritch monstrosities and intact ships in short supply, we do not have the capabilities to send that many soldiers up to Malmeth via the water. Better to encounter foes on land that we have a chance against than to find ourselves at the mercy of whatever lurks beneath the depths of the lake. It's not a risk I'd want to take. You'll have to follow the roads from Burwich, or perhaps travel via Riftgate if you manage to secure one. I'm counting on you. How can we be sure the Coven still exists? Ulgrim shared with me some of what he saw on his journey to Devil's Crossing. Though he was sparing on details, he did mention that some of the Coven survived the Grim Dawn. He had suggested we try to ally with them earlier, but I was reluctant until now.
You see, the Luminari have long been aware of the Coven of Witches hiding out to the north of Burwich, using the treacherous territory to deter pursuers. The Witches will know the lay of the land and should be aware of any paths that remain through the Aether fire. And I have hopes that they will be able to do what I could not. Reveal where the Loghorian has taken Ulgrim. I would go myself, but I doubt the arrival of a high-ranking Inquisitor will be looked upon kindly within their circle, and I am needed in Devil's Crossing. I know that you have suffered much already in the defense of humanity, but you are the only one I can trust with this. Take my pendant and travel north from the Burwich Estates. A barrier of aether fire will stand in your way, but the pendant will make short work of it. Head north through Gloomwald until you reach the edges of Uchtdembald, where I believe the Coven has made their home. You cannot arrive empty-handed. They may well burn any memory of discovering their location right out of your mind. I recommend you hunt down a creature known as Caraxus Foul, the scourge of Uchtdembald. I imagine it has grown quite large over the years, preying on unwary travelers making their way through Gloomwald. Find the beast within its waterside lair in Gloomwald, and bring its heart to the Coven. I'm sure they'll find some nefarious use for it. But we must overlook that in light of our situation. Show them this keepsake of Ulgrim's and find us a way to Malmouth. We will be awaiting your signal.
Well, well, well.
Though the situation is dire, we must remain hopeful. We're counting. I know. It doesn't seem like much, but this is one of only a few things Ulgrim dragged around everywhere he went. It clearly had sentimental value, something the witches can use to divine his whereabouts, if he still lives. There's a lot to Ulgrim that you don't know about, that none of us know about. He seems more than human, and I suspect has been walking this world for a lot longer than you and I combined. He could become a devastating weapon of the Chthonians if we allow them to corrupt his mind. Maybe there is some degree of camaraderie influencing my thinking, but I do feel that he could become a threat if we leave him to be consumed by the madness of the void.
Bourbon.
Setting out for Devil's Crossing soon. I pray nothing worse has befallen the refuge in my absence.
Hello, Amala.
Excuse me, could I have a moment of your time? I overheard that you will be headed beyond Gloomwald in the hopes of reaching Malmouth. It's noble of you to spearhead this effort, but I was hoping there was something you could look into for me. You see, I did not travel down here alone. I was with my father. He was injured in Gloomwald, and I had no choice but to leave him behind in search of aid.
My father and I were part of a small group that managed to escape the confines of Malmouth's ruins, but we did not get far before the casualties began. The spreading aether fire and roaming Aetherials saw to that. But it was not until we reached Uchtdembald that the horrors truly began. Cannibals, poisonous fumes, and even carnivorous plants threatened our every move. By the time we entered Gloomwald, it was just my father and I, but we were not out of danger yet. A pack of cannibals ambushed us in the night. My father was injured in the fray. While it wasn't fatal, I had no choice but to leave him so that I could find help. Eventually, I found my way to Devil's Crossing. I'm not sure how long my father can survive on his own. He was never very good with weapons, or much of anything for that matter. Nevertheless, he's the only family I've got left, and I want to look for him. But the Inquisitor insists that I first debrief him on every detail that I can recall on Malmouth. On your way through Gloomwald, will you spare some time and search for my father? He cannot have strayed far from the main road.
I will find him or whatever is left of him. After all, he got injured by cannibals, and he's in a land full of poisonous things. Yeah, that sounds like a great recipe for trouble. However, and this is where things get rough for us, we can't accept these quests. We can't go and deal with these quests yet. Why? Because we need to find... We need to clear up the matter at Port Valbury. We also need to get the Spirit of Mogdragon, which we've yet to find. We also still need to slay Bane Gargaroth for some reason. For whatever reason, really. And for some reason, our time spent in all of those chaotic rifts, we did not find, we didn't find the Obsidian Throne, like, at all. Like, looking back on our map, it's not here. Which means it's probably out here somewhere in the Gates of Necropolis, and we just didn't find it. Like, if we go over here, this is where all those rifts are. Here is, like, the Gates of Necropolis. There was nothing to speak of. Nothing at all. What I might have to do is look at a guide. I might have to look at a guide so that we know how to move on from here. But I need to take a break so I can eat food. I don't want to do that on camera if I can help it. And preferably, I'm going to try to have the mic muted this time so I can eat it. I'll try to limit it to 5 or 7 minutes. So it's 3:13 now, 3:13 Eastern Standard Time. So my plan is to try to be back at 3:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you guys after the break. Take care. Okay. We are back. So sorry about that. I ended up taking a little bit longer to finish lunch than I would have liked, but what are we doing now, you might be asking? Well, we're going to clear up any business that's left. We're going to start by going to find... we're going to start by finishing off the Outcast's Revenge. So we're going to find Port Valbury, or really we're going to go back to the Conflagration, find that rift, go through Port Valbury, do it again. And because I am more interested... Also, I need to know what happened here. I can't imagine anything good.
Good luck out in Ugdenbach. I've only traveled north of Burwich a handful of times, and the journey was never a pleasant one. I cannot imagine it's fared any better with a lack of patrols and human activity. We're gonna clean up this mess, tighten our defenses, prepare for the worst. As always, we will persevere. Gloomwald and Ugdenbach are some of the most treacherous areas in the region, even before the Grim Dawn. Regular patrols kept the roads mostly safe for travel, but there was always a risk when traveling between Burwich and the northern settlements. Those that could afford it generally preferred to go by boat. I don't know what it is about that bog, but it's a breeding ground for predators. We're gonna clean up this mess.
We will endure. Hello, Creed.
We're counting on you to find a way to Malmö. I know you won't let us down.
Alright, and what about Havos? Good work keeping this area safe. We'll take it from here. Hello, Kasparov.
With the Colossus. Despicable. Truly despicable.
Any progress with the formula?
It's proven difficult to decipher, but perhaps there is still a chance we can glean some knowledge as to the mutations involved.
Be careful. Science, especially science in an unknown landscape, is dangerous. If it wasn't for Sedina, Let's not talk about that. Is there something you need? Wow, that wasn't actual butt. Thanks. It killed so many people. How can we hope to survive against such a relentless foe? We'll find a way. Hello, Fletcher. After this recent attack, Julius and I are thinking we might move on. It's not safe out here. It's not safe anywhere. I suppose you're right. Devil's Crossing was the best thing that's happened to us in months. We can't just give that up. Yeah, you gotta work together. Keep this place safe. This recent attack has everybody on edge. When will we finally be safe from all this death? Perhaps never. We must remain vigilant. Faldus? The captain says to remain calm, but how can I stay calm when something like that could come through the damn portal at any moment? We're all just waiting around to die. We're dealing with this as best as we can. Who else? Oh, I'm glad to see you guys are alive. I won't deny that I'm terrified, but if you need a helping hand keeping this place safe, just let me know. Thank you. Hope we didn't make a mistake by staying here. We'll keep you safe, or do our best to anyway. Help and fight, you just let me know. I think we have enough willing fighters. We don't want children to have to do that. Rook was one of the fun adults. He would play with us and let me pull on his mustache. When is he coming back? Mrs. Constance said he went away on a journey. I'll, be a while. So we can't leave the prison until it's safe. Is it safe yet? I'm bored. It will be safe soon. I'm trying to remain calm in front of the children, but the recent attack's really shaken me up. I hope you'll figure something out. You always do. We'll keep you safe. At least do our best to, anyway. Hello, Duncan. You still here? I'm glad to see you're alive. Alright, who else is still sticking around after all this?
It's one thing to wage war, for man to kill another man for the sake
butcher us all. That is war brought to entirely new, repulsive lows.
Yup. That's the Aetherials. Like, repurpose the dead. Oh, hello. Aw, man. I was secretly hoping Jarvis might have kicked the bucket.
Gods know what your plans are, Taken, but I can't deny what you've done up at the necropolis. If you had burnt in the pile with all the rest, well...
Oh, consider that an apology, good sir. Have a nice day. And there was someone here. They are gone. They are gone. So I was expecting death and destruction. I was expecting carnage and carnage. You know what I found? I found a single ethereal crack in the earth. And things about as the same as they ever were. I'm now very, very fortunate. But from what they had described, I was hoping something more sincere had happened. Something more ghastly that would really shake things up. But they were probably making like gameplay considerations, like, what do we do with all these characters? Who do we kill off? Who do we keep? I guess we'll just kill a few nameless beings and call it good. Alright, we now can go back to Homestead. Oh, right. Well, I guess I don't need to be anywhere particular for that. How about, hello, Tavern. Thank you for giving me closure. Anyone have anything to say, actually? Even hearing about the thing living beneath the necropolis gives me chills. I think you fought against it. You're either really brave or a real fool, but we all owe you our lives. How are things with the Black Legion? Relations are as cold as ever. Sometimes I wonder if Somer would have just taken all the food by force if we weren't producing enough to feed both us and the soldiers, but I try not to dwell too much on that eventuality. You saw to it that we do not have to. Brother Molvin, Master of Arms. Kaiman's chosen. Oh, good. We have, we could keep going then. Vitality and Chaos Resistance. Is there any pure Vitality Resistance I'm currently wearing? Not exactly. Most of the augments I'm wearing are already combos to start with. Hello, Zedley. As you were. To go back up there, steer clear of the reanimators. Yup. I don't wish such a thing upon anyone. These are things we've seen already. The derpitared threat dealt with. Captain Somer has requisitioned some supplies to get a kitchen. I could use a meal. Thank you. Enjoy. Alright, Somer, what do you have to say about all this?
I've heard the news from up north. I am at a loss for words about what happened to Ulgrim. I never thought that smug bastard had it in him to pull off such heroics. I'll be raising a glass tonight to your conquest.
Some questions. What can you tell me about Fort Ikon? Let's start from the beginning. Fort Ikon has withstood generations of warfare. It was originally constructed centuries ago during a drawn-out conflict with another human nation long since conquered by Aetherial. The fort is our northern bastion, a beacon of our empire's strength. Tell me about that war. I'm not exactly a historian, but I'll give it my best shot. The North Wars, as they came to be called, were waged over the disputed lands beyond the Astrakarn Mountains. The area was rich in resources and provided ample farmland, so it used to be a point of contention between the two great nations. Neither side would relent ownership of the territory, and so it came to war. The conflict dragged on over 26 years before we finally pushed them back. That was not the end of the bloodshed, though. Years later, the Northerners returned with another army, intent on retaking the region. The final exchange marked one of the bloodiest days of the Empire's history. It was also one of the first campaigns undertaken by the Black Legion. Back then, we were still unproven. Only a few battles under our banner. But the Legion proved to be a force to be reckoned with. That same year, we marched all the way to their capital and crushed them. That was the end of the North Wars. Good to know. Tell me more about the Black Legion. What would you like to know about us? Let's start the Legion's history. The Black Legion, like its history, is a dark and conflicted thing. During the time of troubles, when the Empire was pressed by war on 3 different fronts, refugees overwhelmed the capital and political dissent among the noble houses threatened to tear the government apart. Thousands were imprisoned for political reasons, petty crime, or just vagrancy. The prisons were overflowing and the military was crumbling for lack of recruits. I'm not sure anyone can remember who, but someone, probably some bureaucrat, came up with a novel solution of sending the prisoners to fight on the front lines and supposedly win absolution. Most were unfit for battle and simply served as cannon fodder, shielding the regular units' advance, but some survived and did indeed win their freedom. Many more deserted, though, and eventually wound up back in prison. The Empire corrected these imperfections, though, with the aid of the Luminari, who devised a process to essentially imprison the human will itself, mentally binding people into the service of the Empire. They created a name, insignia, and ritual to reinforce this desire to serve, and thus was born the Black Legion. The detachment from personal life, unwavering sense of duty, and unparalleled experience in the front lines of the harshest battles killed off the unfit and forged whoever remained into one of the most elite fighting regiments in the known world. The title, Death's Bannerman, was not handed out lightly. In time, because of our guaranteed loyalty and proven effectiveness in combat, he became the favored legion of the Emperor himself, often at odds with the Erlen military high command and feared by the noble houses. You may be wondering now whether I've gone through the mental conditioning I've spoke of, and the answer is yes. I'm conscious of it all. But I know I've been conditioned to be a loyal soldier, but that knowledge doesn't change the feeling, and I'm not sure it even matters. We are now what we are, and in all honesty, I can't say it is for the worst. I was a spoiled and deluded girl once, heiress to one of the greatest houses of Erlen. I ended up in the Legion due to my own and my family's betrayal of the Empire, and since then, my eyes have been opened to the larger world, and I have found a true purpose at one point many years ago. My uncle abducted me from the Legion, attempting to liberate me. In the end, I escaped and returned to duty. Despite the horrors I've seen, the Spartan life and endless toil, the Legion is like a drug that, once tasted, can't be quit. Yeah, because they literally brainwashed you. Oh my god. This is horrific. I like it. I like it because, you know, this is another example of, you know, just how brutal this game is. This game is brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Over and over again. Brutal. That isn't something you usually hear about the Legion. Well, most people can't stomach the truth. It is what it is. It's a harsh world, and the Empire had many enemies, both mortal and supernatural. The Emperor and his predecessors did what needed to be done to survive, and Erlen flourished until the grim dawn. Now we struggle on in a world worse for its passing, and can only hope to someday recapture that glory. What happened in the capital, then? Do you know? What I remember most is the screams, innocents being slaughtered by the thousands, rifts opening up all over the place and spilling out fiends unlike any mankind had ever seen. It wasn't a battle, it was a massacre. Most of the Imperial forces still stationed within the capital did not survive the initial attack. Many more fell while trying to flee from the doomed city. The Black Legion's commander Tarkus stayed behind to rally a defense, and we made the retreat. It was a noble sacrifice, and one I will never forget. What can you tell me about Creed, then? Inquisitor Creed worked for the Luminari, investigating and dealing with supernatural threats to the Empire. It was he who first discovered the Aetherial conspiracy, but alas, not in time to stop it. Creed gathered whatever trusted allies gathered trusted allies instead and laid the foundations for whatever human resistance exists today. The Black Legion survived the Grim Dawn largely thanks to his intervention. Since then, he has been helping to coordinate our resistance and providing valuable insights into the nature of our supernatural foes. How does he know so much about the Aetherials then? We know the answer, bro. We want to see what she has to say. I wouldn't say he's an expert. No one is. The Aetherials were largely unknown until the Grim Dawn. That's part of the reason they succeeded so well in infiltrating and defeating the Empire. However, Creed is one of the few surviving people who had experience with them before the Grim Dawn, and apparently he was able to find some references to them in old texts stored in the vaults of the Luminari. We still learn new things about them every day, though, and they continue to find ways to surprise us. We're still not entirely sure where they came from. What about Ulgrim? Huh, that's a bit blunt, but true. The First Blade, or rather Ulgrim as he calls himself now, has a bit of a history of the Black Legion. Most famously, I suppose, was the time he executed a Black Legion captain for taking no prisoners during a civilian uprising. We had no direct orders to capture the rebels, but the more efficient route our captain chose seemed to strike a chord with Ulgrim. I find it rather ironic, though, given his line of work. The Emperor was displeased with the First Blade's actions, but no formal punishment was ever deemed necessary, which did not sit well with my superiors. What is the First Blade of the Emperor? The First Blade was the Emperor's most trusted spy and assassin, a master of the darker side of politics. All knew he existed, but at the same time none would dare suggest the Emperor would resort to such methods. Well, well, well. Any more at the lectern, or is this it? That appears to be it. We're missing a 10th entry as well. Who else has stuff to say? I almost have more fun doing this than anything else. Yep, that's just the lumber mill. Another day in that cage and I would have surely gone mad. You're welcome. I don't think I ever had a chance to properly thank you. You saved us from a terrible fate. How'd you get captured? I was out in the Blood Grove with a few others foraging for food when cultists showed up out of nowhere. They were using these things. They were like walking mouths full of teeth as long as my forearm. They sniffed us out. The unlucky ones got torn apart on the spot. About 8 of us, myself included, were captured and sent to their camp to be harvested. I still have nightmares about those jaws of death. Are worse than even the Aetherials to perform such atrocities upon your own kind. It's despicable. The end of the world does bring out the worst in people. That appears to be the end. Okay. Well, you know what that means. Just going to tilt this back over here. That means it's time to head back to, you know, a place we've already been and really eke out the end of this quest. We need to know where the outcast's intentions actually lie. And before that, I'm going to talk to Plutonium Nightborg outside. Why? Because I don't want to be here for another hour trying to take care of this. Hello, Plutonium Nightborg. I know we click exactly 3 times for each one. Alright. Now we walk outside. Too bad it only resets this for new locations, but it's to be expected. How is everyone enjoying the story so far? And like, you know, looking at the aftermath of would you just not die? I guess not. How is everyone enjoying the story? You know, I was beginning to think we wouldn't really see much story for a while. Like, even after we killed the Lacorian, I really did expect to just be foist into, you know, a new, either, not a new land, but I expected to be ported back to Devil's Crossing after the end. I expected Diablo treatment. Maybe not Diablo treatment, you did get a cutscene at the end. But the cutscene left you with really a lot of questions. Like a lot of questions. And the same, I mean, it weren't really questions, like, I guess you could come up with some initially. Nice. Clubbed by a random rotting soldier. Cool. I guess things could be worse. And I ended up on the battlement somehow. Just think. Those salt rings didn't really amount to much, did they? I've actually seen that before. Someone I once saw a lined ring of salts. I didn't really think much of it. Because of course demons don't actually exist in our world. Like, they're locked away nice and neatly behind the veil. Or rather, that would be admitting their existence. So instead I should say, if they were to exist, and that is where they would be, is, you know, locked away in a different dimension where we can't access them, and they can't access us, and anyone who claims to have had access was probably smoking something sincere, strong, powerful, and very, very hallucinogenic. But if you have a faithful mind, then you acknowledge the existence of the supernatural and the deadly. Whether you spend much time dwelling on it or not, you at least believe they exist, even if you don't think much of them. For me, I try not to dwell on the existence of the supernatural any more than, you know, the good book tells me to do so. Because dwelling on stuff like that is good once in a while, but you could be driven insane thinking about it every single day without any kind of variance in subject matter. Plus, thinking about the supernatural doesn't help you in your day-to-day existence. It's very philosophical in that sense. It's very, how do I word this? You ponder the existence of the supernatural to give meaning or ascribe meaning to things that you might not otherwise ascribe any meaning to at all, or might presume it's just random chance, or, you know, probability not really being in your favor. You know, you wouldn't subscribe any more to the supernatural than you would a mathematical contrivance. Trying to think of, I was going to take that somewhere. So I guess I can ask, how do you see the supernatural? Are they kind of fun things to read about in fiction and leave it at that? Or do you believe that the supernatural exists? Are there werewolves and vampires just kind of waiting in the wings? And you know, it's people. I need to be careful. You know, even if you later find out it's a mutation, well, maybe that's how people with the mutation lived for a while. You know, maybe they were like, I'll be the monster that society asks me to be because I'm not going to be understood anyway. I might as well just carve my own way in this world. Or are you someone that, like, no, every supernatural phenomena has an explanation. We just gotta find it. They gotta test for it. etc., etc. Like, where do you fit in on the spectra of the supernatural? As a man of faith myself, again, if you're religious, you are already kind of precluded to believing in the supernatural, at least even a little bit. Even if you personally yourself don't think they would ever step outside the bounds of their realm. But would I say that werewolves exist? Vampires exist? No, probably not. The most I would say are spirits. Or, you know, people who sort of have an animalistic quality to them. Like Wendigos. They're said to quite literally, you know, be the cannibal incarnate, personified. I believe in that. That people can be transformed into things of legend. Alright, we're gonna go back and get a key. Yep, back to Devil's Crossing. I wholeheartedly... Oh, hello.
I've only traveled north of Burwich a handful of times, but sure.
We're counting on you to find a way to Malmouth.
I like how they're new. They look like they have new dialogue, but they actually secretly don't. Okay. Creed's pendant, Ulgrim's keepsake. Oh, we didn't actually read these, did we? A rather mundane object considering the implications. Is that a frying pan? Oh my god, that's a callback to what he pretended to be, was a cook. Creed's pendant. At first glance, it appears to be a simple pendant with an ornate rune at its center, yet it emanates with a powerful light. Or emanates with power, excuse me. Just make sure we've kept some stuff then. Make sure I haven't misplaced anything. And we'll put the, like, quest items up here. And hopefully we'll be able to put everything in one tab. Wouldn't that be nice? 1, 2... I think we have just enough. Good. Good. And then we'll pop potions when we get there. I didn't get a key. You know you screwed up when you didn't get your key. I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who's been here so far, who's probably just lurking in the background and has me on a background tab somewhere. Thank you for letting me be the voice that fills your airspace today. I really appreciate it. I think it's important to thank people who, you know, stop by or even just have the tab up on background, because the base of any good stream are lurkers. People who, you know, sort of watch in the background. Like, so many streams over on Twitch are filled with people who lurk. It's an important job. Just don't have the tab muted unless you don't have a choice. You know, there are things that don't count in YouTube's or Twitch's metric for, like, lurking, or what it means to, like, still be actively watching the stream. Because when people don't pay attention to that stuff, it does hurt. It does hurt the metric. But that makes it sound like I'm trying to disparage people from lurking. I'm not. Just be mindful. That's really all any streamer can, or any entertainer can ask, is just be mindful. You know, if you've got to actually pause the stream, actually pause it. Because it doesn't matter if you leave it on or not. If you leave it on but have the audio muted anyway. All that stuff counts and is seen by the algorithm. Twitch knows. YouTube knows. They all know. Nice. Oh, please. Anything to make this little bit of a schlep easier. Now we have Archivist Thelen, so I know he's probably going to be... Let's see, where would he be? No, I can't open a rift here. Come on, coin. We all know how this works by now. Oh, I pressed W, didn't I? Sure enough, I did. That's exactly what happens. That's what happens when you make your A key the move key. What is this? Oh, right. This would be where the rift is. Like the open rift button is. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I forgot what I was going to do while I was opening stuff up. As I completely forgot. I'm glad you think so. Anyone who believes in the afterlife would surely believe that death is only just the beginning of a new journey. It's the end of a current one. It's the end of a current journey and the beginning of a new one. Of course, if you believe in the way that, if you believe things that I do, then death is sort of the end, at least for a while. You become dormant for a while. Until a certain time strikes. Hello, Old Town. It's nice to be back. I'm surprised she would have us go back here. I presume you would have been level 40 when you were doing this, and so this would have been way more dangerous. I'm glad I'm doubly leveled for it. That would have been awful. So now we gotta find... We gotta find these entries. Hopefully we don't see any of these new undead make their appearance. I mean, this is Dawn of Mastery, so I would actually expect to see some of those undead. We've probably been fighting them the whole time as well, but their appearance and certain portions of the game will make more sense to us now, rather than just being random things we could fight. Corrupted coffer. Okay, well, there wasn't much to corrupt. It was only, iron bits and tonics. I mean, you could corrupt those things, I guess, but... Hi, Caladrak. Hi, Caladrak. Was it a hollow victory, though? I feel like if it were hollow, you know, I guess it's hollow because they know they'll just keep coming back, but I don't think it's hollow. If you know you've got the aptitude for killing something 1 million times over and over again, You soon learn it's futile to bother that person. At least until they weaken or die, I guess. If you wonder what I'm doing, I am trying to find out where Archivist Felon is. I'm going to presume he's like the midpoint boss. Seems very likely that he should be the midpoint boss anyway. I should remember these things, but I don't, for whatever reason. You'd think there... Oh, I hear footsteps. Who managed to find their way all the way over here? Anybody? No? Okay, well, back to reading the map then. Ah, it's somewhere over here. Makes sense. There we go. I thought I would eventually, you know, find my way around. It's one of these things about isometrics that I guess I'm not the largest fan of, is that it's real easy to gloss by stuff. Just because... You know, if your camera isn't panned or rotated in such a way to get a good view of whatever it is you're looking at, you're just gonna miss out. They're gonna miss out a lot. Also, I guess as far as I'm concerned, we've made good progress today. We've essentially completed the base game. You know, maybe we didn't complete it 100%, but we're going back for 100% now. What I'm going to try to do between now and, say, next Friday is really just kind of grind up to, hello, Aether Warp Totem. Goodbye, Aether Warp Totem. I'm going to grind up the other character. I'm also going to grind up Black Legion rep by getting bounties and stuff. That's mostly what I'm going to try to do. That way we have access to those augments. Yeah, we have access to those augments. We have access to those other items and those recipes. Because at this point, we probably should be making good use of the bounty board to max out reps and stuff. We can't do that with the Outsider, which is why we're going out of our way. We're going out of our way with the Outsider, but all the other ones absolutely have... Hello. That warp didn't last very long. Might have to, we might have to kill the guy over here as like a mid-boss anyway. So, like the idea of revisiting old content yet? I usually don't, but, you know, I know in a Metroidvania or in some other, like when we were playing, I'm talking to you like I'm talking to people on Twitch. For those who've watched the Blasphemous VODs, it is kind of like that. By the way, I have a VODs channel for stuff on Twitch. It's, you know, Swirling Vortex VODs. And I upload... I need to make sure I've uploaded the most recent VODs. That stuff's currently missing, but... You know, I do my best to upload VODs of what we do on Twitch. You guys want to see that series? It's up there. I still have to edit episode 9, but rest assured now that I am, you know, basically off for like summer term, I can do that for you. I can edit stuff. I can actually put those episodes together in a meaningful way, or at the very least, you know, that they aren't all they aren't all just, you know, their own individual episode, because that's fragments of when the internet went out. No one wants to see that. But if I don't put it up there for posterity, some things don't make sense. So I actually will now have some time to do that. Along with doing the other things I'm being expected to do, of course. Hello, Aetherial Obelisk. Goodbye, Aetherial Obelisk. Yep, I thought it probably wouldn't be in the initial part of Port Valberry. I figured it'd probably be around here somewhere. Hopefully we find Archivist Thelen and you know, put an end to this. He's probably... Actually, is he part of that triumvirate of 3 that you fight along with the Overlord? He might be. In fact, he probably is, and I just didn't remember. Or we can have issues trying to get to literally the simplest of places. This is fine. Let's keep moving on, I guess. And continually getting lost in buildings. Fun. Hopefully... nope. We have to wrap around. We have to go south to go north. When you kind of know where you're going, in these challenge dungeons, and you're killing stuff in the manner that we do, it starts to get tedious. It starts to feel tedious. It really does. Like, oh, we've done this for the upteenth time. And granted, I could make things interesting by turning on Grimmist. Like, that is absolutely something I could have done. But then we would have been here... It's, what, we're 3 hours and 11 minutes into the stream, and we probably would still be back at, you know, Old Town, if that's what we were doing. Hello, Thelen. You got your head now. Now we find Agorod, who probably doesn't have anything we want to use. Oh, we are also getting some new lore pages, so I guess this was worth the trip in more ways than one. I was not expecting to find any additional lore pages, but when you have to, you know, scour places looking for the pages, I guess... What can I say? I guess, at that point, you know, if you're going for completion, or XP, which these lore pages are totally XP... They're worth it on at least that front. Let's start with the criminal records. Bloody Jack, reckless murder and known worshipper of Soleil, a heathen god. Reports have been received of Bloody Jack's signature murders. A carved throat and witch symbols etched into the left breast. Appearing increasingly close to Burwitch, citizens are advised to avoid traveling alone and to steer clear of forest roads whenever possible. News of sightings or proof of death should be brought before Warden Krieg of Burwitch Prison. A reward of 400 royal crowns is offered for the successful capture and deliverance of Bloody Jack alive. Gildum Arcanum, page 2. To reinforce the ingenuity of arcanists both living and dead, we turn to the works of Master Maven, a prolific arcanist from the Third Age of our glorious empire. Master Maven was able to bend the inherently destructive flows of the Aether to her will in order to manifest a protective barrier around herself. This technique is a stellar example of how the Gildum Arcanum continually strives to break through our preconceptions of the Aether, creating entirely new schools of thought within the arcane arts. I'll bet. I wonder, how do the Arcanists feel about Maven's works? After the Aetherials came about, I imagine many of them tried to distance themselves, or were already, you know, in bed with the Aetherials, or possessed by one. If you're working with a dangerous force you don't understand, you soon realize just how dangerous the force is when it comes after you. The very force you've been using in order to defend yourself or cast magic and all kinds of stuff. You soon realize just how dangerous it actually is. And this is also like a running parlance among necromancy. This is why I generally don't play necromantic characters. I don't like the idea of relying on animating forces that you know, you say you can understand the dead, but it really isn't. Well, A, I want to respect the dead, but B, I mean, even if I didn't, I still probably wouldn't want to meddle with the undead and try to operate a corpse whose will I do not know and did not know beyond life. If you knew you could animate the dead for some untold purpose, would you? I'm genuinely curious. I won't think less of you, regardless of how you choose to respond. After all, I'm asking for a general answer to a question. I'm not asking for you to out yourself as a known necrophiliac or something like that. But would you reanimate the dead and make them zombies for your will? Would you decadently revive the dead, or only when needed? I'm genuinely curious. You already know my answer on this. I've chosen to take a stance on it after all, but I'm always curious. My friends always have a different point of view on this compared to myself, as in I'm kind of the odd person out most of the time. And I just think it's fun to ask questions of this nature that force people to sort of define themselves. Not that I'm looking to force people to define themselves, but that is the intended effect. That's what happens. Is people have to, you know, say one way or another, or say not sure, haven't really thought about it. At least that answer is also equally telling. I know I'm a STEM major, and I like dealing with people. I should be a psychologist by all retrospects of the word, but I'm not. I like observing people. I don't necessarily like. I do generally like talking to people, but I have my limits. Ah, that never gets old. I love being able to cleave things. Anything up here? I know we had chests up here. And we've already rescued the girl down there, the woman who was held captive. So now what we're gonna do, we're going to, where's our, yeah, we no longer need that rift. We can go back to Fort Ikon and turn in that quest. Yay. Are you gonna ask us to go anywhere else? She generally actually already asks us to do the other legacy dungeon, the challenge dungeon, excuse me. Well, in fact, we've done all the major ones. Steps of Torment, Sebs of Torment. Now we have Port Valbury, like the Old Town, High Town area. And then we have the Bastion of Chaos. We have the dungeon behind that. Have you brought me the Archivist's head? Take it, please. Ah, Thelen, I hope the journey back to the Aether was as painful as it looks. You've spent too long in one body, grown comfortable. I'm sure you never even suspected. Do you know this? The quest title gave it away, folks. Let's find out. Yes, for countless eons, he and I were one of the first to arrive upon Cairn, but once we took on bodies, our interests had diverged. Spend long enough in a human and you're bound to start thinking like one. So you lied to us. Creed had suspected for some time. I imagine he always knew, but the information I presented put his morals at odds with necessity. In the end, are the lives saved not worth a few lies? Would you have listened had I told you the truth? Would you have killed my host, as Reeve wanted? Perhaps you're right. We would have assumed the worst. And you would have been right to. My kind has been cruel to your people. Used them like mere tools. I wish to undo that harm, but I cannot do so alone. I have questions. So is Thelen truly dead? Unfortunately, no. But take solace in knowing that a major player in the Aetherial hierarchy has been sent beyond the veil. Were he not so arrogant, a rather human trait, he would have fled the body before he had a chance to end him, but instead, he was hurled back into the Aether. It'll take time before he can once again return to the mortal realm. So what is an Aetherial really? We were the servants of the primordial gods, but when our makers grew jealous of one another, we became soldiers in a cataclysmic war. Countless creations were eradicated by the ensuing conflict. Countless millennia of our work erased in a flicker of godly anger, but none of that compared to the day one side chose to harness the darkness of the void in a desperate bid for victory. The results were catastrophic, and our masters were cut down or scattered to the far reaches of creation. And we, the most loyal servants, were banished to the Aether for the simple crime of serving without question. There, stripped of our physical forms, we were forced to wonder the emptiness of the stars for all eternity, the scars inflicted upon us by the void's minions still burning deep. That is, until we encountered humans. What changed when you found us? Human ingenuity and greed. Your base desires to seek out power are only matched by your ability to adapt and manifest that power in impressive displays. It was the reckless actions of the first Arcanists that drew us to this world, and it was our whispers that taught your people how to first tap into the limitless potential of the Aether. All it took was a push in the right direction. We had to be patient, but eventually enough of us were able to breach the veil and take matters into our own hands and prepare for the glorious dawn, and would see all Aetherials return to the physical realm. But our actions were not without consequence. Though Chthonian worship was not a new prospect on Cairn, desperate humans made willing allies for the powers of Chthon, and so an old enemy has returned to haunt us, and may well spell doom for us all. I am well aware of your accomplishments in the Necropolis, but do not think for a moment that the void has been beaten. It hungers for blood, and the more we slaughter one another, the more Chthon's power will grow. There are other worlds. A human mind cannot even begin to comprehend the countless worlds and realities that exist beyond your own. Though how many still remain after the wanton destruction inflicted upon creation during the War of the Gods, that is difficult to say. Do you know anything about the Aetherial that possessed me? I'm afraid not. Based on your history, it is clear that it survived the hanging. It is quite rare for an Aetherial to die when the host perishes. The one that claimed you is still out there. Of that you could be certain. I have another question. Why are you helping us? I have come to develop feelings for your species. Concept most Aetherials cannot even fathom. It would be a shame to turn you into breeding stock when instead you become valuable allies against the inevitable battle against Chthon and the minions of the Void. I may not be able to sway the others, but I can help you survive the coming conflict. Believe me, the worst is yet to come. Why would you betray your own kind? Right. Unlikely allies, yes, it is strange to even consider. Asteria sees potential in you. She trusts that you can handle some of her more sensitive tasks. And we are revered with her. Yay! So we have... Let's take a second to just kind of go over. Affection rewards unlocked at respected status. Cool. So we have physical pierce. Okay, so these are basically... These are the powders, and then these are the armor stuff. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thunder, what's the difference? With rain collar powder, lightning damage. Interesting. So now we trade for the thunder then. Okay. That's cool. And now we're gonna buff. We're gonna add damage. And put another point in spirit. And put 2 more points here. All right. Where to next? Looking back at our quests, and the Plains of Strife north of Fort Ikon. So we got the one in the Blood Grove that was here. We need to find the one in Plains of Strife. Because that would be the Obsidian Throne, right? Is that rift right there? Are the people kind of just left up here to their own devices now? Guess so. Ah, it's you again. Yep. I thought maybe I would have to go reclaim the Malimenier, but I guess not. It's nice to have the loom of the main story over, and now we've gone back to... Yeah, the threat is very real and very present. We're now actually dealing with the other half of the equation. I think I remember saying something to the effect of, it seems strange that we're turning our eyes away from the Aetherials to the south and focusing on the Aetherial presence to the north, or the Chthonian presence to the north. I found that weird. And that makes some amount of sense. Like, the Aetherials are at least going to operate in a somewhat... They both plan, both the Chthonians and the Aetherials, but the Aetherials are at least going to attempt to do so subtly. At first. Like, especially if you're dealing with... Subtle, he says. Meanwhile, massive ethereal Colossus charges through, sewn up of human parts, and ripping things to shreds. But what I mean is, the Aetherials are generally more... how do I word this? They are capable of thinking in ways that sentient beings are. Whereas the Chthonians are acting on the whims of a dead or dying god and are thinking entirely devoted to purpose. They're singular. The Aetherials can operate in unexpected angles and go in unexpected places, do unexpected things. Whereas if the Chthonians are unpredictable, it is because they, you know, are supposed to be unpredictable. Unpredictability is the norm. Hello. Forsaken Wastes. Weren't we here not that long ago? No, it was the Ashen Wastes. The Ashen Wastes. That's right. The Ashen Wastes. I'm back to wandering aimlessly through a dark, quiet abyss. And here I thought we wouldn't see this aesthetic again. Kidding. Wrong. I guess we're seeing this aesthetic again. Oh, I forgot to turn Grimmest back on, which is rather unfortunate. At least that'll make dealing with quests we should have finished much easier. I guess there's pros and cons to this. The pros are that it doesn't take forever to complete, but the con definitely... Oh, hello. We found the spirit. Now we restore a shrine. And for this, I'll definitely want to turn on Grimmest again.
Hey, do we have any of that Chthonian Nibors left?
2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3.
No
3 clicks
problem, man.
each. 3 clicks each. Then we just make our way back. Oh, no, that's a density of 5. Oops. We'll see if my computer can hold on to that. I'm not sure we'll be able to, given circumstances, but I'm willing to put forward my best effort, you know? Plus, I think it'll be fun. I always liked higher mob density. I remember cranking that crap up to 11. Initially. That was a fun time. Just swaths of enemies on the screen. I miss it. I miss it a lot. I thought... Uh-oh. I so thought we would have been able to find this. Did the rift move? I think the rift moved. Well, this wouldn't be the land of chaos unless if the rift didn't move. God, I hope I can find it. I guess they're going to be wondering until we find it. And here I didn't. Here I thought I wouldn't really see any more of the Chthonians, but oh, a foe as old as time. Yeah, we're going to be seeing them for up to eternity. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed this series up to this point. I think I might have already said the same thing like 2 or 3 different times, but that is the risk of streaming. Sometimes you repeat yourself. I do my best to try to make this series enjoyable, but I know I am a dullish, boring personality. I know that I am. I'm worse than the English in terms of my humor and in my general parlance, my way of speaking. It's I'm very dry. But I chafe with the way we speak now, like saw, dude. I feel ick just saying that. So ick. It lacks refinement. It lacks proper speech. It is valid speech, and I will not shame anyone for speaking that way, but I just feel it lacks finer nuance. Like, you have to assume too much. Or it just, I don't know. Some people seem fine speaking it, and other people should just talk properly. I'm one of those people that I probably should just talk properly. I don't look good. I don't sound good. Speaking that way, I don't. I know it. And I'm fine with this. Back outside. And now we're going to go to Astrakarn Valley and start heading south. And after that, I think I might call it. So we have a nice even note. It crashed again. Okay. Well, I guess I can't complain. You know, we were bound to crash eventually. Also, that's what happens when Grimace is turned on. You know, and the enemy density is higher than how you intended. I need to decrease that by 1, or we're going to have problems.
Hey, do we have any of that Chthonian Nyborg left?
There we go. That should be reasonable. Now, let's try this again, shall we? And remember, folks, modding is not the most stable thing in the world. If you mod your game, you should expect it to crash. It's a restored shrine. It's this one over here. I already know it. I wish I could make like a POI or something, but I can't. Just have to head the right direction and hope it works. And enemies every which direction. That did not take long. Finally, though, eventually we're able to just carve our way back to where it should be. What? I don't know what I found. Acquire Creed's pendant. Yeah, we already found that. So, what was that star for? I guess I just walked to it absent-mindedly without even thinking about it. Whatever, I guess. Ah, Caraxus Fowl. That explains things. And I picked something up green. Get out of here, greenie. Green-eared, green-texted item. So many named individuals. What is this, a Met Gala or something? Hey, if people want to attend a Met Gala where the, am I saying that right? I sure hope I am. But if people want to attend a gala where the ultimate point is death, or the ultimate, you know, end point is death, be my guest. But I promise you will not be putting me to the test. I'll not be serving you up, you know, foie gras and beef liver pate. I promise none of that will be happening. Nice, you gotta love how wanted you are from Kingdom Come. all the way to Timbuktu, or insert any other, you know, distant place of your choosing here. Now, there was another... Oh, it's pointing to the ancient hearts and saying, ah, yes, look at those ancient hearts. That's what's happening. I was like, why is there stars on the map? Now I know. Alright, Mogdragon. We're here to set things right. We're probably gonna plop a rift right here, just in case things get absolutely nutty, batty, however you want to say it. And let's see what this mythical quest, you know, reduces you down to. This shrine is ruined and needs to be restored. We have part of the shrine, and an ancient heart. Speak to the avatar of Mogdragon. Oh, hello.
Have you come to pay your respects, mortal?
You have done the Rawari a great justice this day, mortal. For this, I thank you. Is this your shrine? The shrine was created in my honor, yes. It is one of many, though none suffered the corrupting presence of Chthon as this one. Your valor shall not go without reward. Thank you. We got a dread skull, a devotion point. Oh, so many other good things. May I ask some questions? Ask, who or what are you? I am the Lord of Beasts, protector of nature, and guardian of the Rawari. Your mortal kind calls me Mogdragon. What about the other gods? What about Empyrean? Empyrean? I have not heard that name uttered in centuries. In centuries. These chosen that you associate with. I wonder if they truly understand what they have uncovered underneath those ruins. I have more questions. A god. Shouldn't you be protecting Cairn? This is a mere fragment of my presence, an avatar, but more than enough to squash you like the insignificant insect you are. So be careful to presume what I should or should not be doing, mortal. Then why allow the Grim Dawn to happen? The wheels set in motion to culminate in what you call the Grim Dawn have been spinning for far longer than your short life. Even one such as I could not have foreseen the events that transpired that day. But then why allow the Aetherials and Chthonians to continue? This world has become just another piece in their brutal conflict. To presume that the cycle could be disrupted is the futile wish of a doomed mortal. But your people will die. The fate of the Rawari is for me to dispense. I do not expect a mortal to comprehend my intentions. So will you do nothing? It is not for you to presume what I will or will not do, mortal. I have more questions. Were you mortal once? An insulting question. Were you not a fool once? What is your relationship with the Rovers, the Rawari are my chosen people? It is through them that I shall act out my will in the coming darkness. How did you convince Rowan to succeed his throne in Arkovia? An ancient tale and one I enjoy telling. However, I convinced him of nothing. I saw into his heart and revealed to him the truth he already knew. It was Rowan who had the wisdom to accept my words as nothing less, and for that his descendants have my blessing. You mentioned a coming darkness, though. Be certain of this, mortal. The suffering of your people has only begun. If you are a god, then why did you allow the Grim Dawn to happen? Continue. Okay. Never mind. You would threaten an ascendant? One who was old when Erlen was but a few tribesmen? Surely your mortal struggles have not brought you before me seeking your own destruction. I like how we can attack Modrigan. I like that we can do this. But even if we killed him, what would you gain out of it? Nothing. I believe we have 2 devotion points, 1 devotion point. Okay. Please tell me I have something I'm already working on. I would really like not to be, Constellation complete. Oh, I feel like I already managed to mostly complete one, and then proceed to forget what else I was doing. All right, what we want is Hand of Ultos. Probably. No, most definitely we want Hand of Ultos, and we need 10 here and 10 here. Affinity requirement. Interesting. Requires an axe. Reckless Tempest. I guess we do need to figure out something else we're going to use. We also need some of this affinity anyway. What do I want to take, though? Complete constellation requirement. Maybe 50 health. Movement speed. I remember picking out something to work on. Maybe I have completed it, and I am back to not knowing what to do. Defensive ability. Yep. I need something that has green and blue on it. How does that work? Here? Fire, Aether. Interesting. Green and blue. Green and blue. Primordial and Eldritch at the same exact time. Huh, I actually think that's a combination that just doesn't exist. Oh, no, it does, but it's this one. Okay, so this Tsunami and Blizzard would be the things that, would definitely be what we get out of this. Okay. I guess then, in order to get here, we need 10 and 10 in those. I would like at least something that is moderately useful. Sorry if I'm not talking. I'm really just trying to think over what I'm trying to do exactly. No, that's not it either. To do that. Okay, I think I got it. I'm trying not to take, I'm trying not to amplify cold damage too much. Otherwise, I just end up becoming, what I've been trying to avoid this whole time. So I think what we're going to do is get some defense. We're going to get Lizard. Okay, so let's go back to Old Arcovia and turn in that quest. And then it's starting to get bloody hot in here, so I'm definitely gonna call it afterwards. Please don't crash. Thank you. Got the completed ones. Outcast. Where did we see this? Old Arcovia, Rowari Legacy. Huh. Hello, Mkala. I've heard news of the shrine's restoration. The Rowari are forever in your debt. Is the ancient birthplace of the Rowari? Yep, may your path be true. Thank you again. Thank you, you're welcome. I've heard that Darius is dead. I'm glad we're on the same side in this conflict. Hello, Horace. I'll sleep easier knowing that psychopath is is eating dirt. Jesus. I may not be a good man, but I have limits, and the things that Cronley did was enough to turn your stomach. Mm-hmm. Some people have not moved on from this small little saga. Alright. I will find out where Bane Gargoth is, and when we return next time, we're going to finish up that bit of business, and then finally move on to new material. Won't that be great? I'll also, again, grind up. I will grind up the reputation necessary to get the Black Legion stuff. We should have had access to it. Allying yourself with the Outcast kind of reduces your ability to access that stuff. So I'm gonna probably grind a dozen different bounty table missions until we get it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I realize we're cutting the show a little bit early, but I need to stretch, and I've got other stuff I'm trying to get done at the same time. If you guys like this content, I can't imagine today went particularly well, but if you like the end of the story, headphone users, beware. Consider, subscribing and turning your notification bell on. Just tilt it a little bit for me. That way you don't miss out on more Grim Dawn. We're already through the base game, so now we're going to be starting the DLC. DLC 1 and then DLC 2, because the Crucible is like a sandbox PvP thing, if I remember correctly. Description notwithstanding. Thank you very much. Thank you guys very much. If you want to access me directly, best way to do that is through Twitter. Twitter.com/coinstamp180. That should be my display name. Yeah, if you want to DM me through there, I'll answer. I read all the DMs. I'll do my best to answer. If you guys want to be part of, the Discord, consider subscribing through your Twitch, or sending me an email after you've donated through Patreon, and I'll try to give that to you as fast as I possibly can. I definitely encourage you to reach out to me. I am trying to cultivate a community. It does take time, and I know it takes more effort than I'm putting in at the moment, but I am going to be fixing that sooner rather than later. Outside of that, if you guys want to see other content, I definitely suggest checking out my Twitch page, twitch.tv/coinstamp, no number, just the name. We stream every Sunday and Wednesday. And if you want to be part of the exclusive content over there, you're going to have an easier time. Not over there. If you're wanting to be part of the exclusive content on Discord or Patreon, you're going to have an easier time doing that on Twitch than on YouTube at the moment. I'm not partnered, so I don't have any of my... I can't put any of my usual stuff down. Not being partnered at all. Wouldn't make any sense. This is kind of meant to be the smaller channel. If you guys want to see VODs of content on Twitch at any time, definitely feel free to check out Swirling Vortex 09, capital V, O, capital D, S. There should be a link in my channel that takes you right to the VODs page. I think that about covers it. Any other shilling I would do, I'm going to leave to the links. You guys know where to find those. Just check the description. The first place you should check at any, aspiring, YouTuber or YouTube viewee should check is the description. The description contains everything. All right, fat guy 507 reference aside. Thank you so much. My name is Coin or Swirling Vortex or Steven. You can call me any of those three things. When I'm on here, I'm Swirling Vortex, but I'll answer by any of those. Thank you guys so much. You guys are welcome in my hallowed halls anytime. Check out the links. They take you to where you want to go. The link tree gets you to pretty much any other place you need to go. Maybe with the exception of the coffee. I'll either see you next Friday, or I hope to see you Sunday, Wednesday, or if you manage to make it to my Discord, that 4th streaming day. I hope to see you on any one of those. That 4th streaming day starts Mondays, so if you want to be part of the in crowd, get hopping on that free Twitch Prime today. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Take care, and bye-bye.